Like many of you, we battle depression during life's ups and downs.
Music has always been the one thing that we could rely on to get us through the tough times that we all face.
Follow us on our journey as we discuss the healing power of music,
Interview bands,
break down genres,
review band biographies,
and more.
This is the When Words Fail
Music Speaks podcast
with Blake Mosley
and James Cox.
Creed.
There you go. Okay, so I got the last one, and the last one might break y'all. I don't know. Let me pull it up real fast. Okay, so it's gonna be the Deftones, which I got the collected edition, the White Pony, one of the great bands of all time, right? So I got Deftones or I got Incubus. Now this is a hard one for me because they're really great bands.
Yeah.
90s. So that's a tough one for me. But I gotta give it to the Deftones, really.
That's actually me too. I'm not like a huge fan of either band, but I've heard some of the newer Deftones stuff, and I was pretty blown away by it. So
pick them. Yeah, Deftones are dope. That's a tough one. You can't put anybody really against that in that category. That's a tough one.
Well, see, it's the same thing with Pantera or Lamb of God. They're both great. I gotta
give it to Pantera, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because on some days, Lemon Grass. Yeah, that's right. Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck! Are you talking to me?
Yeah. I walk away from Philip any day of the week, man. That guy can break people, you know.
Yeah.
First question for y'all. So I know that you all are touring musicians, and your bodies go through so much pain and agony sometimes. So what's been the worst experience of injuries y'all have faced so far? Whether it be like knees cracking or because I'm 41, I was born with cerebral palsy, so my knees hurt right now. So I went to the doctor to get some medication. Thank God for that. So do y'all experience like knee problems or like what's been your
I can't think of any physical injuries like that, but I think the worst thing I've experienced maybe would probably be heat stroke. Just heat stroke and exhaustion,
Right.
If you're doing like outdoor kinds of festival kind of gigs in the summer, and you're doing them all, and you have to spend all day there every day in the blistering heat, that sucks. And especially if you're exhausted. That combined with your exhaustion, you're ready to pass out.
Yeah.
Right.
Dehydration, that's such a big one. Like that's all kind of in there. Yeah, I mean, my knees sometimes tell me the weather from skateboarding. I skateboarded for years, so now it's like I always have they're like, it's gonna rain. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna pour.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the body can tell you when it's gonna rain hard, because sometimes it's just wears me down, dude.
Oh yeah, the pressure. It's all about the pressure,
Yeah. So how old were both of you when you discovered music?
Oh, discovered music.
Yeah,
I know. I would probably say about for as far as I can remember, I would say maybe 5 or 6. 5 or 6 years old. My story is I saw an acoustic guitar leaning up against a wall at a daycare or something like that, and I tried to go touch it. They told me no, that's not yours, and I was crying hysterically because I couldn't play it. But shortly after that, like the first band or music I remember when I was about 6 or 7 that made me want to play the guitar was the Beatles. They were the first band I ever really heard, which is pretty appropriate because they pretty much were the first band. So
right.
Yeah. For me, it was kindergarten. It was Mrs. Arcus's class, and I heard we were doing some kind of crafts thing, and I heard Beethoven's Fifth Symphony playing on the record player, and I just got up and walked and stood in front of the record player in like complete awe that there was this sound that sounded the way I felt inside.
Right.
Just
right.
that dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah.
It was the heaviest thing I ever heard in my life at that point. I was like, yeah, dude. Went home and I couldn't get enough of it. I was like, oh, and so Beethoven my whole life is just,
Beethoven, then, I mean, to learn something that he can write so much symphonies and knowing that he was deaf just speaks monument levels of like awesomeness, you know.
I mean, think about this. So the Ninth Symphony, which is probably one of the greatest musical pieces ever. I mean, perhaps, certainly one of the most like imitated and stolen, so many lines from it and everything. And he had gone like over 10 years, wasn't even writing anything, wasn't doing anything for like 10 years. And then went back and had this one more piece to get out of him. And he comes back with the Ninth Symphony. Yeah. And at that point, he was fully deaf when it was performed. So actually, people were mocking him. They thought he was done and washed up, and he performed this thing and couldn't even hear the audience. They had to turn him around to see everybody standing and cheering for him. It's amazing.
I think I read that the way he made music is he felt vibrations on it through his feet, through his whole body, and it's just this is amazing.
Yeah.
So for Freeman, so what did you always want to be the singer of a band, or did it just come because I know some bands I talked to, one band was like they picked my instrument, so the only instrument I could do is bass, or did it fall on you, or did you always want to be known as the singer?
Wasn't it the case with like Eddie Van Halen? Like he wanted to play drums, but his brother started playing drums.
Right.
So he had to play guitar. No, I mean the first thing I wanted to be was a spy.
That was me too.
Yes,
I was James Bond, man. I told my mom, I go, listen, when I grow up, I'm gonna have to hang from helicopters. I'm like, it's gonna get really bad, but you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Funny story about me. When I was, I think I might have been 8 or 9 years old, and my mom was pulling the car into the driveway, and I opened the door and dived out onto the lawn and rolled, and I almost gave her a heart attack because I wanted to do a James Bond stunt. I thought it was cool.
Trying times, right?
Is trying it out, but no. What happened was, I think, like, also the fact that, there was music that came along that just kind of spoke to me, So I think I first actually started playing guitar, and then finding a singer to sing the way I wanted to, and to sing the words that the stuff that I had in me, because a lot of the stories and the things I needed to get out. So I didn't feel they were coming out. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start singing. And it's going to be bad for a long time until I get it,
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just going to do it. So,
yeah, for me, as far as like playing guitar in a band, I guess that's kind of what my vision was from the beginning. All I remember as a little kid thinking about was just being on stage playing guitar, and it wasn't really any more specific than that. I think it was just any way that I could be doing that. That was my vision of what I wanted to do, and that's what made me happy.
Right. That's always a good thing to find what you love to do and then pursue it, So,
yeah.
I mean, with that love for anything, where would we all be,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything.
So did y'all two meet at like high school, or like how did you meet? How did you meet each other? How did you meet your other group?
Well, we were both pretty active bands in the New York scene. We are old bands. I had a band called Face the King. He had a band called Man on Earth, and I guess a lot of us had the same kind of fan base. So they were the ones that kind of brought our attention to each other, and we just ended up playing a show together in Florida at a flying school, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Really cool show, great people there, and that's the first time that we actually met in person. Even though we were both from New York, we met in Florida, and from there on, the timing just turned out right. We kept in touch, and he reached out to me when he was putting together a new project just around the time that my project, kind of called it quits.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. So can you tell me what the band's name it means? Okay, so is it like because I can take this one or two ways, right? Don't believe in ghosts is like y'all don't believe in ghosts. That can be one, or it's just a statement like don't believe in ghosts. No. But I read that the meaning behind your band name is a lot deeper than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's about not giving energy to the ghosts of your past.
Right.
You know, it's about like, because so often we don't do things because we're so worried about what the people who have been close to us through the years are going to think, like whether that means a certain outfit you wear in a video or like whatever it is, you don't do it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is it's about, not worrying about what other people think really, and imagine like how free, I mean, we still all do it, right? So imagine how free you would really be if you did not worry about what other people were going to think. And especially the people from your past, we would be so free,
Exactly. And I think that everybody should remember that now more than ever, because you got what's on one side and a lot of people just hating on people for no reason at all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really good definition of the band's name.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
can y'all remember the first time you got signed to a label and how that moment felt?
You're talking about the this band, right?
Yes,
First
yeah.
signed. I mean, that was very recently. That was only a month ago?
Just like 2-3 months ago.
2 or 3 months ago, yeah.
Nice.
Super exciting opportunity, and it's pretty amazing that very shortly after we got signed, a lot of good opportunities started kind of rolling in. It seemed like it was all hitting us at once, and it still is because it's still very new.
Yeah.
A little bit overwhelming, and a little bit weird because we're kind of, we were still kind of in our own places, trapped in quarantine a little bit. So, and it's before a time where everything is open, where we can go out and play shows. So it's a little bit of a weird time for it to happen, but it's also super exciting, and we're even more excited for when we can really experience it in person, by playing a show and getting on some big festivals.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess now y'all are taking schedules to go on tour later this year or early next year, or like how's that panning out for y'all?
Yeah, it's looking like September that we'll get out on the road finally. So we may do some shows in August if it works out. But like really we don't want to, I mean, we want people to be safe. We want it to be in a safe way. And at the same time, we're not rushing to go play for like a small capacity crowd. You know what I mean? So we kind of want to like see if we can just wait until the fall to like get out there and really play for everybody and bring the big kind of show that we want to bring. We think it's worth it, instead of just rushing out there and playing for 20 people just to do it. Like we think like getting out there and filling a club with everybody and putting together an amazing show, because it's been so long since we've been out there and we've come so far now and we have so much that we want to do. So we don't want to like come out there and just do like a little thing. We don't need to do that right now. We want to come out and then bring it like show everybody where we are now in 2021.
Come out strong, right? Because you don't ever want to come out weak. Yeah. I mean, what would the message be, right?
Yeah.
So,
lights down, lasers on, put your head back. Let's go.
There we go. Let's do it. Let's headbang, right? Yeah. So I know that bands are starting to actually get out and be on tour. Like last week, I just saw Steel Panther for the third time, I think. So that was amazing. So, have y'all seen like concerts like in your hometown yet, or you're just waiting for the?
We're here in New York, so it's a little slower to open. It's, just they're kind of like playing it safe. So but I'm sure we're going to be seeing, there's some live music outside here and there, and there's little acoustic things here and there, but
slowly coming back. But the good news, our show that we have booked on September 18th, I think only a few days before that or shortly before that, the venues are all opening up, the city's opening up. So
yeah,
it's looking, we'll actually get to keep this show. We had to push it back about 4 times. It's
oh no.
since March, right before the pandemic happened, we've been having to push this back. So now we get to keep it, I think.
Yeah.
Good. Because what the world now needs now, I think, is live music. Because there's nothing like being out with the crowd and feeling that vibe from them, getting the vibe from bands. It's truly amazing,
Definitely. Definitely. We agree. It's time.
It is. Too long. So there, with all these genres out there, you got jazz, rock, rap, country. pop. So with all these great genres, what directed you in the rock genre category to be in like a rock band instead of like a like a pop band or like a jazz? I mean, like why did you pick rock to go to go that way?
Yeah, I think, probably because of like Van Halen and Motley Crue and like,
Yeah, I mean that's mainly what I grew up on, rock influences, and I definitely went through like a whole metal rabbit hole too. But rock was definitely from the very start of playing an instrument. That's kind of what I gravitated towards. But this project, I think we take a little bit of elements from different genres here. It's maybe a little bit of the rock influence, but also definitely alternative, definitely a little bit of pop and indie, all
Right.
those.
yeah.
The name that I keep on hearing through like multiple musicians is the Van Halen, and that's just one band that I think deserves the most credit, really, for being the most influential band ever. Because I hear like great. I love Van Halen. I'm a bit more fan of the Van Hagar era.
Mhm.
But I don't know about y'all. But yeah, Van Halen is really most influential than I've ever heard anybody else. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: since we're on the Van Halen kick, are you a Roth fan or are you a Hagar fan?
I
With
I'll
Halen?
probably say I'm more of a Roth fan. I think Sammy's great. It just wasn't as much my cup of tea, I guess. I love the classic Van Halen sound from their earlier years up to 1984. There's a few songs that I dig on 5150, but I don't know. More after that, it was a little bit like I kind of cherry pick after that.
Yeah.
I'm more a fan of the Gary Sharon era.
Dude, he is a fantastic singer. I don't know what I mean.
I love Extreme though.
Dude,
I love.
He's
Gary Sharon,
amazing.
Extreme,
He's amazing.
And, Betancourt's a huge influence.
I actually like I really love early Van Halen, and I also really like later Van Halen. There's songs, in the Hagar era that are just fantastic, like pop rock songs that like nobody else can do. So I like them both. And Hagar's voice is insane. I mean, it's just it's incredible. I mean, as far as singers go, he's an incredible singer.
Yeah.
But David Lee Roth was such an incredible frontman and like added things to the music that he made his voice and his performance even its own unique instrument, like in a way that only he could. So exactly. I think we've been gifted with two absolutely incredible eras from like a great band. So
I always say that Sammy has the better vocal power and David Lee Roth is a better entertainer,
Yeah.
They're just gifted in those areas that make them stand out so well,
Yeah, definitely.
Since your EP Change Your Mind, which was released in 2015, how has your writing style changed, if any?
Tremendously. I mean, tremendously. So that first EP, coming out of the old band that I was in, it was about like sitting down and I was like, okay, what happens if I write a song a day for a week? And then I did that. And then I was like, that's pretty cool. What if I write a song a day for a month? And then wrote 30 songs, and then I did that. And by the time I got to, it's an interesting thing as a writer, when you write a song, you're like, that's the best song I ever wrote. And then when you write 7, you're like, I fucking really love song 4 and 5, And then when you write 30 of them, you're like, then you could really stop and go, okay, well, actually some of this stuff sucks, but some of this is great.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, and I think of like, some of the greatest producers of all time, they always are like, yeah, I know you like that because you just wrote it. Now go write something else. Go write something else and keep writing, so that's it. So the early stuff was about like writing myself kind of away from what I was doing in the past. You know what I mean? Right. And then I think like with this record, with Solutions, I think we really started to hone in on the band sound. This is a record that we all worked on together. And I think like we really came into a band sound. and yeah, and we're kind of like continuing that now. Like we're together now working on some new music today. So we're excited about like where this is all going, you know? So Solutions is going to be like an amazing entry for people. A lot of people are going to hear us for the first time now. And I think it's an amazing entry to what we're doing and where we're going.
It's music that we've been sitting on for almost, would you say, a
2
year?
years?
2 years. Wow. Yeah. Some of
it's
that far back, and we're already excited about the other music that we have that we're going to be sitting on for another who knows how long, you know, until that's released.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah.
We feel so strongly about them that we're like, you know what, let's just put that out instead, you know, the one that we were planning on putting out the whole time. So again, the and that's a mentality that I had to get into joining this band is just keep writing and don't stop. And you might find you might love that song, but you might write something better.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep going and don't stop.
There you go. That's the secret of life, you know. Get up if someone knocks you back down, just get right back up, you know, and try again, you know. So
yeah.
I do have a question for Dean, right? Your name is Dean?
Dan.
All right. I didn't catch that when he okay, so I dabble in guitar throughout my years. I'm 41 years old. I started when I was like 16. Never got a hang of it. You know, I've always wanted to pick it back up. So for like a newbie, you know, such as me, what song would you tell me to learn that's the most easiest and fastest way to pick up the guitar?
Wild Thing.
Well,
yeah, that's 3 chords, right? Yeah.
I guess, you know, there's like a couple of songs in the very beginning of guitar where I you know, I think a lot of people will learn that are very similar to one another. And one of them one of the basic chord songs that I would say is Good Riddance by Green Day. Okay. I just feel like it's if you can play through Good Riddance and Green Day and play through those basic chord changes there, then you can pretty much, in theory, play 100 songs, you know, that use similar chords. Yeah. So yeah, just learn your open chord. Learn your open chords first, and learn a couple of different chord combinations and switches, and just be patient with it. You know, work out, isolate small pieces, and then you take the next piece and you to make bigger pieces, and then you got something.
I got you. Yeah, because I heard that Tom Petty is great for learning like the first time because it's all it is like 3 or 4 chords or something. Right? Yeah. So okay, Stephen, the same question to you, but vocally. Like what information would you
hold on 1 second. Dan, I think has to actually, he gives guitar lessons, so I think he has to jump to a guitar lesson in like 2 minutes. So we have to wrap in like 2 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna tell him I was gonna be a little late.
Okay. So what was the question for me?
Okay. So what advice would you give me to start learning how to sing songs? Sing.
Oh, to sing a song. Yeah. I mean, I think that really comes down to finding something that's like, first of all, like figuring out your range and like knowing, you know, your vocal range, and then finding something that you love, like a song that connects with you, you know, and working on singing like that. I think like, you know, I don't think there's like one song because everything's like, you know, singing is just, you know, there's so much stylistic stuff to it, you know, so I don't think I could say like, you know, go learn Cry Me a River, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So like, yeah. So I think yeah, it's like figuring out your range is like super important, and then kind of making a list of songs that are kind of in that range, and then kind of singing along with those, I think is a great way to start.
Nice. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I got 2 more questions because I know you have to go.
Yeah.
So like we said in the intro, the new album Solutions will release on May 14th, pretty soon, in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want the fans and listeners to take away from this album?
I want people to be inspired, you know. I think like, you know, like the album title is, you know, there's a lot of like conflict in the world. There's a lot of like argument for no reason. And really, it's like what we need is solutions, you know, for people to stand up and let's fix things, you know. Let's not talk about what's wrong anymore. Let's not point fingers at each other. We're all in this together, and I think like if you listen to the music and you listen to the lyrics, it's about, you know, lifting each other up, inspiring each other, and seeing past our differences, and together for all of us finding solutions, whether that's on a personal level in your life, something you need to do, or, you know, just on a grander scale.
Awesome. One last question. So this podcast is called "When Words Fail, Music Speaks." That can be anything further from the truth. So, is there one song that you can hear right now that that you cannot tell me how you feel about it?
You mean a song that we could hear that would make us feel good, or?
Like, okay, so if you heard a song that means a lot to you, but you just can't explain it to me or
Mhm.
your mom or your dad, which songs would that be?
Yeah.
Or three songs?
From the album, you're saying?
No, from like
From
in
in
yeah,
general. Wow.
yeah,
That hits you. I mean, you
yeah,
know, songs that always like kind of floor me with feeling is definitely like Imagine by John Lennon.
yes.
Uh, you know,
Right.
Take My Breath Away from Berlin. I don't know what it is about that song, but do 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 do. Come on, man, that bass.
I mean, that's awesome. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god. Watching every emotion in the- You know, so good. You know, and Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve is like, I feel
Yes.
like, you know, to bring it back to that, I mean, that song is always one that the lyrically, you know, I'm a million different people from one day to the next, you know.
Right.
It's like you know, that's encompasses everything I think that I am, that willing to change.
This is going to be very random, but I was just trying to think about it while he was answering his question for me. But just, you know, there's a lot of songs I'm sure that do that for me. But just one random one that popped into my head is it's an acoustic broken down version of "Take on Me" by Aha, and it was just pretty amazing to me hearing that, because it was so wildly different from the original song that it gave a completely different vibe, a completely different sentiment, and it turned it into way more emotional and a sadder kind of song. But it's also kind of bone chilling. Anything that gives me the chills makes me feel something, and that's usually what I gravitate towards.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Well, we do appreciate y'all coming on. To our listeners, you can catch them on Instagram at Don't Believe in Ghosts, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitter and Facebook at DBIG Ghosts, and you can get them on their website www.don'tbelievinghosts.com, where you can order merchandise from them on Amazon, right?
Yeah,
Amazon.
absolutely.
Nice. Yep. So, like I said, I deeply appreciate you coming on, and I hope you'll come back whenever y'all get
Oh,
out here. And
Absolutely.
thank you so much. First of all, for all the research you did on us and for all that you knew. And obviously you're a fan and you've been listening, and that really means a lot, man. So thank you so much for that. And hopefully soon we can be together and we can do a show and you can come hang with us at a show.
yes,
Absolutely.
hopefully y'all come into y'all will come to Columbia, South Carolina, because that's where I am. So I encourage you to try. You know,
Yeah,
because I really want to meet y'all too. So yeah, it'd be good. You know.
Can't wait, man.
All right,
Can't
man.
wait.
All right.
All right, thank you for having us.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much. Stay safe, dude.
Take care,
Will.
man. All right. Bye.